G'day, Nick here, Animal Engineering. Welcome back to the channel. All you people that have been here before, any new guys, maybe here for this leading video. Hello. So what we're up to this episode is, I've got to redo the lid on the roof of the Metro van there. So it's all old, it's been there 60 years, it's cracked and looking horrendous. Initially I was going to wait till the roof was back on the van. I've realised that if I do that, it's going to burn all the epoxy paint off, and once I get the inner side pieces, so there's a couple of those pieces on the ground there actually weld into the roof, so if I weld them in and then do the lead filler afterwards, it's going to burn all the paint off in behind them, and I'm not able to get back to it to paint it properly. So you can see I started cleaning some of the filler off here, but you can see here there's just big cracks through it everywhere, and it's just going to let moisture and stuff into the van through those cracks and just going to rust again. So I've not done any lead filler work in my life. I've watched half a dozen videos. Seems like a pretty cool technique if you can master the heat of it. Like rather than bog, you sort of put it on and it goes off pretty quick. You can sort of play with it and have a bit of time to move it around. I asked around several months ago, and a lot of people put me onto this guy Colin at Automotive Paint Tools and Equipment here in Perth. Went there, got some all the gear to do the leading. Awesome shop. You go and there's stuff everywhere. It's like a candy store. So a pair of jeans, a bit of denim, that for body file. Whole heap of lead. I've got to do the two seams that go across the roof, and then once the roof welds back on, I've got to do the pillar welds as well. So lots of that. The solder paste and tinning butter, and then I've got that there which I've got to cut up and make a paddle out of. First thing I've got to do is clean all the old lead out. So it's going to be quite the process, I feel, getting back to nice clean steel. So I'm not going to film that, it's going to be boring as hell. So I'm going to get it outside with a bit of breeze and we'll get all that stuff cleaned off, and then we'll cut back once we're ready to start smashing some butter. Righto, well, been at it for a few hours now. I've got both seams fully cleaned up, sanded down to nice clean bare steel. So next step is we've got to tin it before we can lead it. So what I've got here, some grade B solder paste. So I've seen a couple of different methods of applying this. One is with like a copper Scotch-Brite pad, and you sort of heat up the steel and you put that on. Or the other I've seen is where you just brush this all over, and then you come in with a torch and you heat it up and wipe it off. So I'm going to go for the heat and wipe mission. So we'll get this on and then we'll burn it off, and then we'll be ready to start slinging some lead. Right, that's a nice good coating of the solder paste on there, so I'm just going to use a little butane torch here and some paper towel. We'll heat it up and wipe it off. I'm going to have a fan going behind me blowing all the fumes away. I might even open that door up just to try and get a bit of airflow through. So we'll start burning it off and getting it tinned up. Alright, well there you go, that's all tinned up and looking pretty good. Pretty happy with that, I think. That should do the job. Yeah, pretty happy with how that's come up, I think. That looks pretty nice and even, I guess, for tinning. So now we'll start slinging some lead at the girl. So what I've got here is some 30-70, 30% tin, 70% lead sticks. So we'll warm the panel up and then warm the stick up and chuck it in there and spread it around with a bit of a paddle action and see how we go. From the videos I've watched, it seems kind of easy, but then at the same time it looks like it could go pear-shaped very, very easily as well, and you'd end up with a whole stick on the floor. And at $36.50 a stick, you don't want much on the floor, I can tell you that. So we'll move on to that step next. We'll get all the lead in there, see if we can not cock it up. Rightio, well that didn't go too bad. I think the old camera died in the arse on me at the end there, got a bit hot, might have had a bit close to the old flamage. But yeah, it turned out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that for a first time effort. It's not too bad. Don't think it's going to take too much cleanup. So I've got the old body file here. I'll just go over with the body file and then the DA sander. One little trick for keeping the stuff out of these I've found, if you're doing aluminium or anything like that, is a bit of chalk. So just get a bit of chalk, just fill it in like that, and it kind of helps a little bit. It still gets a little bit of junk in there, but seems to work better than nothing. I'm not going to bother filming any of that. It's just going over with this and then the DA sanders, not the most exciting bizzo. So we'll cut back and see what it looks like once she's all sanded up. Alright, we'll fast forward several hours now. I've got that seam done, body filed, sanded, finished. I've also done the rear one. Hasn't turned out too bad, like for a first time go at doing lead. I'm happy with it anyway. Not so happy with the rear one. The rear one, as you'll see in a second, between the two panels at the joint had quite a dip. And I've used 8 sticks of lead in it, and if I was actually fill it up so you get a nice finish, it'd probably take another 8 or 10. So I've called it where it is. There's no cracks in the lead, which is what I was after. It's sealed, it's nice. Doesn't look too bad. But we'll have a look. So, as I say, I'm pretty happy with the result. And now the rear, not quite as pretty. But you can see how much of a dip there is. Yeah, I don't know if that really shows up on camera, the actual dip in the panel there, but to raise it up flush, I would have to probably put another 10 mil of lead in there, which I'm not going to do. Extra weight, yeah, it's just unnecessary really. And van's obviously been like that for 60 years. So yeah, that's been like 2 full days to redo those seams in lead. You can definitely see why people don't do it anymore. The cost for one, I've done 8 to 16, so that's been 16 sticks of lead at $36 a stick, plus the flux, time, 2 days. Yeah, where you could just epoxy prime the thing and bog it and you'd be done in like 3 hours. It'd probably cost you $80. But anyway, it's done. I'm happy with it. It's not getting painted, so I definitely didn't want to do any bog. So the cost is kind of irrelevant. So if you've made it this far through the video, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you on the next one when we get the roof on the van.